And I'm back. So, I don't know if you guys are excited, but I am. We just had probably the best episode of WandaVision yet. And by probably, I mean definitely it was the best episode so far. So, let's break it down. Welcome to the newest episode of SDW. Nope, there you go.
Super Dario World!
Alright, so before I get into it, I need to tell you guys about a little something. I worked specifically on a little thing for the station during the week. If you guys want to check it out, go to rock1053.com. I guess I can show you here the screen. Nope, that's the wrong screen. There you go. So if you want to check it out, I worked on a video for the radio station. We did a special thing for the P1, so go to rock1053.com, click in the search bar, type in picture duet, or just go to follow along with the show. You'll find it right there. It's a little something that we worked on. We put together over the weekend. I did most of the behind the scenes work, the editing and all that stuff. So if you want to check it out, it's right there. Let me know what you think. I won't give you any spoilers so far, but let's just say it's a fun little something. And I'll probably talk about it later. I might even show it a little bit so I can break down what I did. But there you go. For those of you who care, there you go. Before we get into it, let me just give you a quick reminder that any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me at Dario the Show on Instagram and at Super Dario World. Streaming on YouTube and on Twitch at Super Dario World. I'm still iffy on the times. I'm aiming Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at 8 p.m. Obviously today I did not make it at 8 p.m. Turns out I had a lot to say about this particular episode, and I had a lot to research. Well, not necessarily research, but just get together the picks. And the picks take up a buttload of time. It's actually a huge pain in the butt, but it doesn't matter because I think it makes it fun. Anyway, so there you go. And like I said, if you want to join me, I have the chat here, I think. I don't know. Like, it's acting weird. Other times it's a little bit more reasonable, or at least it looks not reasonable, but looks different. But anyway, doesn't matter. So if you guys want to jump in, have any questions, feel free to jump in, join me. Like I said, aiming for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 8 p.m. Sometimes I won't make it. Mostly I will aim to do it, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. At least I will have a show between in the 8 o'clock hour. That's what I'm aiming for. So there you go. Something for you to be excited about. Anyway, let's get into this because that's what you're here for, right? So the latest episode of the TV show WandaVision aired last Friday. It's episode 5. I believe the title was On a Very Special Episode. And like I said at the beginning, this is probably the best episode. Well, not probably. This is definitely by far the best episode. It represented what we always kind of hoped this show would be. And you know what? I don't like how this looks. Let me just switch it out a little bit. All right. So I'm gonna do a little fixing here behind the scenes. You guys won't be able to see it, but damn, this is really annoying. One of those things that it's like, God damn it. I thought I already fixed you. Nope, this is not what I want to do. Anyway, so yeah. So I particularly enjoyed this episode because for the longest time, I've been saying this show is going to be at its best if it's half of it happens within the show and half of it is out of it. So last episode, it was pretty much everything that happened outside of the show. I wanted a little bit more from that part of the world, and it dragged. The things that happened inside the show dragged for a little bit, and so honestly, I was getting antsy. I was like, okay, when is this story going to hit its stride? When are we actually going to get into the nitty gritty of it? When the hell are we going to get answers? And we finally started getting them last episode. I was worried that they were going to go back to the old format. Fortunately, they didn't, and they spread it out, so it was 50-50. And, well, not 50-50 per se, but it made it way more fun, way more enjoyable for the audience, and so, or at least for me. And so let's get into it. So, what I've been usually doing is I pretty much break down only the important parts of the episode. This episode had a lot of stuff. And so I'm just going to do like a quick summary. And by quick summary, I mean I'm going to actually go into everything and break it down because it's a lot of stuff happened in this one. So let's get into it. Damn it. Why can't nothing ever be easy? Let me see. All right, there you go. So the episode starts with Wanda and Vision playing the mom and dad role with the twins, and they're having issues putting them to bed. Classic sitcom drama for new parents. And so Wanda tries to use her magic on them. And here's where we discover her magic doesn't really work on the twins. Why? We don't know. We just know that it doesn't work. Could it be because they also have magic? Could it be because they are a part of her? Could it be because they're superpowered as well and their power counters hers? Could it be because they're not real? I don't know. It's not clear. The point is, her magic does not affect them. And also, what's up, Jess? Thank you for joining me. Let's move on. Then the neighbor shows up exactly the nick of time with exactly the thing that they needed help with, which is the twins. And then a very interesting moment happens when the neighbor breaks character. So Vision says something that the neighbor does not expect. Like, she's going to go grab the babies, and Vision's like, "Nah, don't worry, we got it." And so she's confused. She's like, "Oh, but I thought I'm supposed to help with the baby." She looks towards Wanda, kind of like an actor turning towards a director. And this is an interesting moment that we haven't seen so far. One of the characters breaking character as the character. That make any sense? So it's not like it's like they're an actor, which is weird because it's an actor pretending to be brainwashed to be an actor. It's really weird. It's a complex situation. I'm still trying to figure out, but basically is this neighbor who was a hijacked person who's being brainwashed some way or being manipulated, and she's being completely manipulated, we assume, by Wanda, because Wanda's the one she's getting orders from, breaks character in a very strange way, and she's asking for directions. Now, if I have to kind of take a guess here, I'm assuming that this particular neighbor is different from the other ones, but I won't go too into it. Let's just say she's done something that nobody else in this show has done, and that immediately makes me go, there's something up with this guy. With this gal. There's something weird here. I don't know if it's specifically her or it's Wanda's powers or something, but something's weird with her, and I'm pretty sure that she's going to be relevant somehow, some way, moving forward. So let's just I need to just clarify that. Nothing completely strange happened, but strange stuff happened. We'll just leave it there. Next, Vision actually mentions this, that hey, the way that neighbor's acting. By the way, I don't remember her name. I want to say Darcy, but I know it's not Darcy. Marcy, maybe. I don't know. The way the neighbor's acting is kind of weird, right? And Wanda tries to, laugh it off and be like, "No, we're just tired. The babies haven't slept, blah, blah." And that's when they notice that the baby stopped crying. And so they turn around and, oh, look at that. The babies who were born, who we knew about yesterday, that we were pregnant and that were born yesterday, are now 5-year-olds. Yay. And so that's pretty much how the episode intro begins. And we get a little intro from, this one was a reference to Family Ties. Like a blatant Family Tie. So there you go. That's that. If you were wondering what era of sitcom we were in, that's the one. Next, we go into the outside world, and here's where, like I said, this is kind of what we expected this show to be: a little bit in, a little bit out, a little bit in, a little bit out, and this is great. This works out really well. Let me see if I can just switch this out here to look a little bit better. Damn it! You fix one thing, you ruin another, right? Whatever, doesn't matter. No, it matters to me. I'm just gonna do that. I can't. I'm sorry. Anyway, this is for the people who are following with the visuals and very confused. Technical difficulties. Anyway, so we go back to Rambo and Bear. They're asking Rambo questions about stuff. Basically, what happened in here, what happened out there. It's not really that relevant stuff, but what's really relevant here is that we get Darcy, FBI Agent Wu, and Rambo interacting together, and this interaction is awesome. Like I those three together, love them. They're hysterical. They're a great team up. I would love to watch a show of just following those three, trying to figure out stuff with superheroes. It would be a lot of fun because Darcy's hysterical. Jimmy's also kind of a clown. Is it Jimmy Woo? I'm forgetting all their names right now. I guess I could check it up really quickly because I'm pretty sure it's... I probably should have done this before the episode started, but I was doing the images. So, whoops. And Damn it. Nope. This is not working. Oh yeah, and so I'm terrible with names. That's my biggest weakness. But I'm pretty sure it's Jimmy Woo. Just god damn it. Darcy Jimmy Woo. Yeah, I got it. It was Jimmy Woo. Anyway, that makes me feel a little bit better. So these three together, hysterical. Would love to see more of them. Would definitely enjoy their own little show, their little adventures, or they keep showing up. Then just bring them back to the MCU because they're great. One's very useful, one's very funny. The other one's very useful and funny. So there you go. So they go through her what we assume is her CAT scan or brain scan, and it's blank, which is weird. And then we get like a very quick briefing from the commander or the director of Sword, where basically they're trying to say, "Hey, Wanda." Well, it's an interesting moment because they ask, "Do we have any funny nicknames for Wanda Maximoff?" And Jimmy's like, "No, we don't have a nickname for her." But I mean, everybody, well, most of the people in the know her code name is Scarlet Witch. She's the Scarlet Witch. However, here's where kind of the meta breaks a little bit. Disney did not have the rights for the Scarlet Witch when this all started out, when the whole MCU started out, when they introduced them in Age of Ultron. And so they never referred to her as the Scarlet Witch within the MCU. It's always Wanda or Maximoff. And so it's a weird little meta moment because we know that Disney owns the rights to the X-Men again. So it's interesting. We're assuming we're assuming that it's all going to build up to her actually coming out of this show as the Scarlet Witch. But then again, I could be wrong. We never know. Again, that's just an assumption. But yeah, it was an interesting moment, and they're trying to see if they can pin her down basically as a terrorist, and they start breaking down the stuff that she did. You know, like the explosion here that cost the Captain America Civil War. By the way, what's up, Toro Rosso? Thank you for joining me. The weird things that she did over here, and they show the video of her breaking into Sword headquarters and stealing the corpse of the Vision. So interesting stuff there. This apparently happened, like, if I'm not mistaken, 5 days before the events that they're describing here in this meeting. So 5 days ago, you have an Avenger break into your facility and steal a priceless piece of technology. Also, we learned that apparently the Vision had a living will, and he didn't want to become a weapon, kind of like the Iron Giant. And so, doing anything to his corp violated the Sokovia Accords and his will. It's really weird. I didn't know the robots could have wills or whatever. It's artificial intelligence. I guess it could count in a way. But what's interesting here is that Sword had them. And we're assuming that if you have artificial intelligence and your Sword, you're probably going to use it for shady stuff. What is it? Sentient Weapons Division? The Sword, the SW stands for Sentient Weapons, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. We learned that last episode. And to add to the weirdness here, again, Wanda broke into your offices 2 days ago. Well, no, it was 5 days ago. And I guess she could have wiped out everybody's memories, but it's still a little weird, right? You have the tape. Why were you shocked that Wanda was there? Why were you shocked that the Vision was there if you have video of her breaking into your offices and stealing his body? Weird stuff. Honestly, it's you could chalk it all down to Wanda wiping everybody's memories, which is completely possible and plausible. But why wouldn't she delete the tapes? You know? It's weird. It's one of those things that's kind of weird. Also, immediately as soon as they knew that that she had the Vision's body, well, why wouldn't they go in to check their own stuff? You know, if they see Vision there, why wouldn't they go in and check, like, hey, aren't we supposed to be the ones that have his body? Should we maybe go check? Weird stuff. Like I said, every single thing in this show is pointing towards Wanda, which makes me go like, nah, it's not Wanda. It can't be Wanda. I've talked about this many times before. Wanda is my favorite female. Scarlet Witch is my favorite female character in the Marvel universe. So I do know I have a bias, but it's just too much, and there's enough little stuff there that you're like, no, it's too obvious, it's too blatant. It has to be something else. They're trying to play us for fools. They're trying to convince us that she's actually a villain. And it's actually interesting because Rambo kind of tries to stand up for her. She's like, no, I mean, she asks pretty reasonable questions. Why limit herself to this town? Why isn't she actually harming people? Like, she can't be a terrorist. She doesn't have a real political agenda. It's Everything's bizarre, okay? I have no real answers for you. I'm confused. Basically, this podcast is all about breaking down all the confusing things but cool stuff from this episode. But anyway, or from this show. Let's continue. We have Rambo, Darcy, and Jimmy Woo there asking themselves, like, well, so if the Vision's dead and Wanda kind of brought him back to life, how is he going to react when he realizes that he's dead? Which is a perfectly valid question, and it's pretty much what we've been waiting for. Like, okay, what the hell's going to happen when this dude realizes that he's not alive anymore? Well, is he going to break? You know, because it could be fun. It could be interesting. It's going to be an interesting thing. And honestly, well, I'll save it for a moment later. But let's move on. We get to see this whole little bit with them back in sitcom world, sitcom land. Bit with the dog, which there's always a classic sitcom episode with kids and dogs. And there's a situation where the neighbor shows up and Wanda uses her powers directly in front of her. And Vision's like, what are you doing? Like, we're supposed to be hiding our powers. And Wanda's like, that doesn't matter anymore. In fact, you don't even have to hide your face anymore. So Vision's clearly, this is the second time in the episode when he's like, what the fuck is happening? This is weird. I don't understand what's happening. Moving on. The kids then decide that they don't want to be 5-year-olds anymore and they become 10-year-olds because Vision and Wanda say that they will allow them to keep the dog once they're old enough, and old enough apparently means 10 years old. So there you go. In case you were wondering how old your kids had to be to have dogs, it's 10, apparently, according to Wanda and Vision. Moving on. Rambo then is trying to figure out, I enjoy them trying to science their way out of this, and because it's all BS. And so they're trying to find logical ways that they could go. Well, Rambo's trying to figure out a way that she can go back into Westview and see if she could be protected. So basically, she's trying to design basically a tank that would allow her to go in there and be unaffected. And they have, honestly, Darcy, Jimmy Woo, and Rambo have a very awesome fan conversation of who's the most powerful superhero, and I loved it. They were talking about and I believe this happened in a previous scene, but in the scene when she first wakes up, but it might have been this one, when they're like, well, Wanda was strong enough that she could have taken down Thanos by herself. She was taking down Thanos by herself until, he ordered the Blitz, which, he outplayed her, which was brilliant by Thanos. And then it's like, no, well, Captain Marvel nearly had him first as well. And so they're having this debate of who's the most powerful superhero, which is awesome. I don't know how the hell Rambo got access to all this information and to detailed information, but I'm loving them fanboying out because MCU fans have had this conversation. I've had this conversation with people where you break down like, no, well, this one's actually more powerful. No, it would have been this one. But here, we clearly saw this. If it hadn't been for this, it was fun. Like I said, I would definitely enjoy a TV show of these three together, just following them around. Anyway, so then Rambo says that she's going to text somebody that she knows. It's not exactly clear who she's texting. We're assuming it's somebody. I'm not going to say who exactly, but we're assuming it's somebody she knows who's kind of powerful or kind of smart. But let's just say, until it's confirmed, I'm not gonna go into it. Like I'm keeping things within the realms of the show. We only know the things that the show tells us. So, moving on. They actually discover, hey, you know what? By looking at the helicopter, the original drone that was sent in, and looking at the helicopter, she's like, wait, is this possible? So she decides to test out a theory, and she goes into the clothes that she came out of, the particular out of the dome with, and she shoots at them, and it turns out that it doesn't damage the clothes at all. So she's like, ha! She's not destroying. She's not changing stuff. Well, I'm sorry. She's not creating anything new. She's just modifying reality, which is confusing. Because, all right, from what we know, in Marvel in general, I'm not talking about the MCU, Wanda's powers are the manipulation of chaos magic. All right, that's her powers are confusing, but she can alter the laws of probabilities. She can manipulate chaos magic. She has a whole bunch of a slew of powers. She's uber powerful, and but they're all kind of in that direction. Here they're mentioning her as kind of a psychic telepath, And they specifically in this episode, in the meeting that I mentioned before, they're trying to say that she's a telepath. Now, that means that in the MCU, that's what she is. She's a telepath. She's a psychic. Now, is it possible that they just don't understand her powers and they're saying that that's what she is? Maybe. But here, by changing the clothes, clearly she's showing a telepath can't do that, okay? Telekinesis basically means that you can move stuff with your mind. Mind reading is something else. So there's a difference between being a psychic and being telekinetic. One means that you can move stuff. One means that you can read people's minds. And so telekinesis does not allow you to alter reality. And the weird part here is that Wanda got her powers from the Mind Stone. This is something else that they mentioned in this episode. Wanda gets her powers from the Mind Stone. Mind Stone and her being a telekinetic and a psychic make perfect sense somewhat. The powers that she's using here are the powers of the Reality Stone. The Reality Stone is also red. Wanda's powers, whenever she decides to use them, are red. So weird stuff is happening there. I don't know if this is going to lead to anything, or maybe I'm just overthinking it and thinking that maybe, I don't know, they fucked up, or they didn't consider that particular factor. I don't know. Because as far as I know, the Reality Stone was not on Earth until Thanos brought it with him in the Gauntlet. I don't think it had ever touched Earth, as far as I know. If I'm not mistaken, the Reality Stone the Collector's the one that had the Reality Stone. So I don't know, but it's just a little fun fact there, and it's confusing again. Why they saying she's a telekinetic psychic? I mean, she clearly does have those abilities in the MCU, but it's confusing. This thing's a big old mess, and I'm trying to piece it together. Anyway, let's move on. So she shoots at the clothes and she realizes, oh, they're still made of Kevlar. So the Kevlar that I went in, she modified it into this dress. And so now she realized, okay, so if we sent stuff from modern day in there and she modifies it, what if we send something from that particular time period? That way she won't modify them. And so that's their new strategy there. The super team put that together. Moving on. In the meantime, Vision is in his office and he has this little bit with a coworker about computers. And while he's helping him with his computer, he intercepts a Sword email. Basically, it says, Sword top secret, authenticate Dr. Darcy Lewis, findings regarding Maximoff anomaly, high levels of radiation present at perimeter, effects of Westview resonance unknown, please advise. So he intercepts an email directed at Darcy. Damn it. This is stupid names. And so Vision starts being like, what the fuck is happening here? Like, this doesn't make any sense. And so he turns towards a coworker who was kind of trying to be like, nothing's happening. It's a joke. And activates his mind, liberates his mind. And again, this is weird. Vision has a lot of powers. We did not know that he had the power to manipulate minds. Like, he can become, I don't know, like he can go it's not translucent, but he can phase through walls. There's a word for that. I don't remember it right now. He's super strong. He can fly. He's a supercomputer. He has a plethora of abilities. He's also made out of vibranium, which is a super OP. But altering minds is not, or liberating minds is not something that we knew. However, again, he did have the Mind Stone right in his forehead, which kind of makes sense why he would be able to do that, except for one little thing. We know that he doesn't have the Mind Stone anymore because the Mind Stone was destroyed. And in the previous episode, we saw how the Vision actually looks like, and he has a big, massive Infinity Stone shaped hole right in his forehead. So it's not clear, but whatever. Let's just assume that it's one of those special, I don't know, robot abilities. I don't know. And so the coworker immediately is like, help me, get me out of here. And so let's just say Vision's spider senses are tingling. You know, he's like, there's something weird going on. I wonder what it could be. Next, we have a moment where Wanda's trying to explain to the kids that sometimes parents fight, and she talks about his brother, and she gets emotional, and all of a sudden the dog freaks out, and he hears something outside, so they go outside and they see, a drone coming towards them. Now, this drone apparently is from the 80s. I had no idea that we had like drones that looked like this in the 80s, but I guess, top secret technology, whatever. And it's being piloted by one Captain Rambo. And as she finds the WandaVision residence, she tries to talk her into like, hey, you know what? Calm down. We need to have a conversation. And Wanda's just straight up not having it. So the director here decides, you know what? Blow her to bits. And they try to, and let's just say it doesn't work out particularly well. And Rambo's like, what the fuck did you do? Then the alarm goes off, and there's a perimeter breach. So they go out to check out the perimeter breach, and lo and behold, as they're checking it out, turns out Wanda walks out right out of Westview. And she looks like Wanda, and most importantly, she sounds more like Wanda. Like, while she's in Westview, while she's in sitcom land, she has like this very nasally sitcom-y voice, and that's actually not how that sounds. I don't even know why I tried. Well, I'm not even gonna try to do it. I'm not even gonna try it. But she sounds very American, very old school American. When she came out here, she still has kind of like the ghost of her Sokovian accent. And here's one of those things that you're like, man, this was a wasted fucking opportunity, because she walked out of there. She walked out of there, which is lame. She should have been floating, right? She should have been floating fine, like looking like a almighty, powerful god coming out of his own dimension. Everybody being like, we're fucked. But no, she walked out. She throws over the drone and whatever. It's whatever. Then they have this conversation where they're trying to calm her down, or they're trying to be like, hey, stop what you're doing, you terrorist. And Wanda is trying to explain in a way that, yeah, it's kind of an accident. It's not my fault. They don't believe her. So they're trying to talk her out of it. And basically, Wanda's message is go fuck yourself. And Rambo starts, trying to tell her, like, hey, you trusted me for a reason. You knew that I was a sword agent, but you brought me in to help you have your babies, blah, blah. So you kind of trust me in a little way. And so Wanda's response, again, is pretty much go fuck yourselves. And she directs all the sword agents that are there to point the guns towards the director, which is, again, this is a psychic ability, which whatever. With her powers right now, I'm very confused, so I won't even try to identify it. And she decides to go back, and she powers up what we believe is the dome field, or the static. And it used to be almost transparent. Now it's very clear that the dome is there, and she marks her line, basically gives everybody a very stern warning, like, back the fuck up, leave me alone, or you guys are dead. You're dead. Moving on. Here we have a commercial now from a new brand, and this one's called Lagos, and I just realized that you can't see it here, so let me just see if I can do that. You can, nope, you can't see it. Whatever. Well, the point is there's a commercial for a new brand, and it's called Lagos. So before, we've seen commercials for Stark Industries, we've seen commercials for Hydra, and now we got a commercial for Lagos. And a lot of you are thinking, what the fuck is Lagos? So Lagos is the only reference that I could really find is from and I don't think this is a spoiler really, because it was mentioned particularly earlier in this episode. At the start of Captain America Civil War, there's a big explosion while they're trying to stop Crossbones. And this is what leads to the whole big issue of the movie, right? Well, the city where that explosion happened and the terrorist attack that killed people, that was kind of, they blamed it all on Wanda, but Wanda kind of saved a whole buttload of people by doing what she did, is Lagos. And so it's if you're seeing here, it's cleaning up something. It's like a red liquid that looks like watered down blood. So I'm assuming it has to be a reference to that, but who knows? Honestly, who knows? It has to be that probably, but we don't know. Anyway, moving on. We have the kids trying to find the dog, because the dog apparently ran away. When they find the dog, he died because he ate a bunch of plants. Now, this is shocking to me because I did not know that dogs could die that quickly from plants. And it's kind of concerning because my dogs smell plants all the time. Or at least I'm on I believe it was azaleas, and I did not know that they were poisonous for dogs. And I don't really know what azaleas look like. So now that's something that I'm actually really going to look into. But anyway, the kids are apparently sad, and they're like they're trying to get older so they can not deal with their feelings, which is a terrible idea, becoming a teenager so you don't have to deal with feelings. And I mean, in my opinion. But anyway, Wanda's like, no, stop, kids. You have to deal with your feelings. This is what adults do. You have to deal with death, which is ironic. And also, to me, I feel like it could back up my theory of Wanda not being the one who's solely responsible for this. But I might just be reaching there, so I'm not gonna go into that too much. I'll just leave it at it's ironic. It's ironic for her to be telling that to somebody. Anyway, so Vision shows up and they talk about the dog, and he's like, huh, weird. Which afterwards leads to a confrontation between Vision and Wanda, where Vision confronts her with all the stuff that he's learned from that day and how he feels and think about his neighbor. And he's basically starting to blame her for being in control of everything, and he wants to understand what the hell is going on. Wanda pretty much says this conversation is done, and she starts rolling the credits. Vision does not accept that, and the conversation gets really heated. And this is when we have a confrontation where they both actually manifest their powers in one way or the other. And if this whole show was made just for a build-up to a fight between Wanda and Vision, I am 100% in. First off, I'm already loving the show. I already thought it was great. The acting is beyond phenomenal. Like, dude, seriously, like Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen are way too good of an actress for being on TV. Like, they're just way too talented. And I guess it's good because in a way, this is kind of like a very long movie more than it is a TV show. But whatever. It's I guess it's a TV show about a TV show that could actually be just a very long movie. But whatever, doesn't matter. That confrontation is something that I'm very much looking forward to. Like if it's a blowout, if it comes to blows between the two of them, it could be great. I think that Wanda has the edge here because she's a little bit more powerful, but does she want to hurt Vision? I don't think so. I mean, she's already killed him once, but I don't think she actually wants to because it probably broke her mind. Anyway, let's just leave it at that because it doesn't really come to blows. They just express their frustrations, and Vision really expresses what's bugging him, and basically he doesn't know anything of his life. All he knows is that he's married to her, and nothing from his life makes sense. And he starts putting things together like, why aren't there any fucking kids in Westview other than our kids? And that's a direct reference to something that I mentioned from episode 2 when they're doing something for the children. Do you remember that I told you about the magic show that they were doing for the children? Everybody keeps saying for the children. And there are no fucking children on this show except the 2 that were born into this show. So a lot of really confusing stuff's happening, and Vision's finally starting to ask questions. Unfortunately, he never counted on the trump card, which is tears. So Wanda gets upset. She turns things around on Vision by getting upset herself. So this is a dirty move, ladies. It's not fun. It sucks. And guys, you cannot let yourself be manipulated this way. It's a brilliant move. It's like, I'm upset at you. You did something. I need answers from you. They get upset and they're like, oh no, honey, are you okay? I'm sorry. Like, fucking damn it. But I mean, Vision's not that old. He's not that smart. He's not that savvy. But yeah, it's one of those things. Like, you got played, my dude. Classic. It's a classic move, and it's a strong one, and it keeps working. He's still upset. And he still keeps blaming Wanda for everything. And that's when all of a sudden the doorbell rings, which really annoys Vision because he's like, every single time the door rings, and he believes that Wanda is the one that controls that. Wanda here very clearly says she was not responsible for this doorbell ring. And this is pretty much what everybody's talking about this particular episode, what happens next. So Wanda goes to the door. She opens it and she's surprised. Now, who else is watching this happen at the same time? The number one fan of this show, Darcy. Darcy should have her own podcast about this show. It would be fucking hysterical. And I don't mean Kat Jennings having a podcast about being on this show. I mean the character Darcy having a podcast breaking down the TV show within the TV show. I think that would be fucking hysterical. Whoever works at Disney, get on it. It would be awesome. Anyway, because she's most invested here than everybody else. Let me tell you something. Anyway, so then we get to see the big reveal. Who is it at the door? And it is none other than Peter. Except Wanda calls him Pietro. And I know what the fuck you're thinking. What the fuck is happening? And what judging from Wanda's face and well, first off, Darcy's reaction of like, oh my god, she recast Pietro. By the way, Pietro's his brother, if you didn't know, aka Quicksilver. And she's like, what the fuck? She recast Pietro. And from her, judging from Wanda's face, she doesn't know what the fuck happened. Vision doesn't know what's happening. Wanda's very confused. Everybody's confused. And the episode kind of just ends there on that particular note. Like, Pietro comes in, except he's not Pietro. He's the brother from the TV show. It's very weird. Like, the cool uncle shows up with a leather jacket and all that stuff. And now let's try to break this down, because like I said, this is the key moment of this show. Probably. Okay, so who the fuck is this guy, right? For those of you who never saw the X-Men movies, I believe he first shows up in X-Men Origins, or maybe it's the second one, or the second of the Origins timeline. This guy's name is Peter. Oh, well, okay, how can I explain this? All right, so the character played by this guy is named Peter. Now, Peter is also known as Quicksilver. Now, his power is that he's a speedster. He's a mutant speedster, and he appears in the X-Men Origins movies, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he gets killed in the X-Men Origins movie, which is, again, very confusing. So, we know so far. Oh, by the way, thank you, Toro Rosso. He first appears in Days of Future Past, apparently, or he gets killed in, no, I believe he appears in Days of Future Past. Yes, I think so. Yes, thank you, Toro Rosso. Anyway, so he first appears there, and what we learned is that basically the X-Men franchise, Fox and Disney were kind of just like middle fingering each other. It's like, okay, well, we want to use Quicksilver and WandaVision in the MCU, and they're like, fuck you guys, we have the rights. Fine, we can't use Quicksilver, and we don't have the rights for Quicksilver and WandaVision and Wanda, who are twins. And I'm sorry, we don't have the rights for Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. Fine, we're gonna use Pietro and Wanda Maximoff. Ha 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 ha. Fuck you guys, you can't do anything. And so Fox was like, you motherfuckers, you motherfucking son of a bitch. Fine, then we'll use Quicksilver, and they never really touched Scarlet Witch. And so we're not going to name him Pietro. We're going to name him Peter. Ha! Suck on that, bitch. And so that's pretty much how the studios were dealing with everything. That exact language, by the way, that is verbatim how it happened. Anyway, so this guy is from the X-Men movies that are not part of the MCU. This is the very first ever crossover of any Fox character that, like I said, from the Fox line of X-Men movies and any of the Fantastic Four movies, Deadpool and anything. This is the first ever crossover that happens with Fox. Now, we've had a crossover with Sony, which is Spider-Man. This is the first crossover with the MCU and Fox and the X-Men. And now everybody is like, holy shit, is this how they bring the X-Men into the fold? Is this how it's going to happen? Also, why the fuck isn't Aaron Taylor Johnson in here, who I think is probably a better actor than this guy, but unfortunately, I think that the character of Pietro in Age of Ultron was not written as well as the fun Peter that this guy plays. I don't know. It's very confusing. Also, why would Wanda change him? And why did Wanda not expect for him to show up? This just keeps giving signals that this is not in her control. She has a little bit of control, but she's kind of going with the flow. Does that make any sense? It's like the things that are happening are not being done by her, but to her, and she has a certain level of ability to manipulate stuff. I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm very confused, and again, I'm biased because I like Wanda, but this is all very confusing stuff, guys. This opens up like a bunch of realm of possibilities. Like, is it possible that Wanda became so powerful that she actually opened up another reality? She opened up a gate to another reality. She's trying to bring her dead brother back, but she accidentally brought the wrong brother back. Why was she surprised that her dead brother's there? Why is she surprised that he looks so different? We don't exactly know. So it could be that it's her subconscious, so it's still kind of her fault. But at the same time, we don't know shit. We don't know nada. And again, you can speculate that this is how they're gonna bring the MC. They're gonna bring all the Fox properties, all the Fox characters over here. You can speculate a whole bunch of stuff, and it's confirmed that Wanda will appear in the Multiverse of Madness. Like that is confirmed. That is fact. It's confirmed that in the movie, in the next Doctor Strange movie, in the Multiverse of Madness, Wanda will make an appearance. So I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but right now we are at the halfway point. We're exactly at the halfway point of this show. It's going to be 9 episodes total, which is great. The next episode I'm very excited about because this is where she's actually. It looks here from the tease. Well, from the image that I can see is when she's actually wearing the Scarlet Witch costume, the old school one, which should be fun. And now we know that Pietro's going to be there. I'm assuming things are going to start ramping up a lot. That this show has gotten better and better. And now we're at the halfway point. The big bomb has been dropped a little bit, and the tease for the finale of this show has been phenomenal. So, like I said, they've teased that it's going to be a spectacular finale. So, I'm excited. Things are looking good. Things are looking great. I want to speculate all day about what does the Pietro accent have to do. Well, the Zachary Cruz, does he have a Sokovian accent? I don't think so. Pietro never has an accent. I'm sorry. Pietro does. Peter doesn't. But here, this is Peter who's Pietro, and I think that the accent that he has here is like, he kind of sounds like Tony Danza, right? Like, hey, who's this popsicle? He sounds, right? Like, he doesn't sound like Sokovian. He sounds kind of like from Jersey or Italian, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, like, hey, Wanda, you don't recognize your brother here. It might just be me. So he does have an accent. It's just not the Sokovian accent. Which, by the way, nobody really knows what the Sokovian accent is supposed to sound like. Is it supposed to be Russian? I don't know. Not yet. I don't know. Anyway, confusing stuff. Like, it's all very confusing. I would love to speculate on what this means. I've already thrown it out there. What I think should happen. Like, I'm not going to go into it again. I'll probably wait till the finale once that we know everything that's going down. And I don't want to do any spoilers. But, by the way, they finally mentioned hex magic, which is great. I'm very happy that I have not done spoilers. I'm very happy that I really haven't broken down stuff that I speculate, because they finally dropped hex magic, and I would have been very, very upset if I would have spoiled that for anybody. But anyway, I think this is a good place to stop. What does it mean? That's the big question. Why is another big question. How is the biggest question. So those are the 3 things that need to be answered on this show. And where does this take us? It could be answered somewhere else. But we still need to understand that. How the fuck this is happening? Why is it happening? And what is happening? We don't know. Did she break dimensions? Did she break reality? Does she have the powers of the Reality Stone? Is she actually realizing that she has chaos magic? Is she being manipulated by somebody else who can alter reality? We don't know. We don't know shit. And right now, it's very annoying, but in a fun way, because it's a mystery. We're solving a mystery together. And if from this point forward, the show keeps going this way, half in, half out, like half in sitcom land, half in real world, it's going to be phenomenal. Like that's exactly what I want from this show. That's exactly how I hope it's going to keep going. And so fingers crossed, that's the direction it's going to keep going, and it's going to keep getting better and better. And I'm excited. I'm truly invested in this show. At first, I was like, okay, this is cool. This is funny. Then it dragged a little. Then it turned, and now this is exactly what I expected it to be. This is exactly what I want it to be. I'm very hopeful. I have a million questions, and I want them answered, but I don't want to do spoilers by asking certain questions. So I'll leave it. Actually, honestly, the safest thing that I could do is just leave it there. So that's what I'm gonna do. Maybe at one point I'll talk about Pietro a little bit, because like my boy Pietro there, Quicksilver. There's a moment in one comic book that I was like, man, this dude is just fucking balls to the walls cool. And he has probably one of my favorite fatalities of all time. So maybe at the end of the show I'll go into it once I know for sure that I won't do any spoilers or anything. But that's it for today. As always, any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me at Dario the Show on Instagram, and at Super Dario World. live streaming on YouTube and on Twitch at Super Dario World. I'm aiming for 8 p.m. That's my aim so far. Sometimes I make it, sometimes I don't. We'll see how that goes. Monday, that's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Monday, and Friday wildcards. I don't know what I'm gonna do those days. By the way, Sacred Cruz, great job, D Money. Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. I believe I fucked up quite a few times in this episode, but it's all fun. And like I said, go to rock1053.com. Check on the video picture. Also, you can find it on YouTube. Picture on our YouTube channel, Rock1053. The show on Rock1053. I edited it. I did a whole bunch of stuff. You can see the credits on it. I think it's fun. I think it's funny. Check it out. As always, thank you for listening, and I'll see you again next time.